Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse recently came out, and I wanted to make some of my favorite scenes in LEGO. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first scene I wanted to build was early on in the movie, and it was the clock tower scene with Miles and Gwen. I wanted to build the top half of the tower and have Miles and Gwen hanging upside down as they were in the movie. This was one of my favorite scenes just because it was so visually stunning. I got the base of it done, and then it was time to add the top of the tower. Once the top was placed, it was time to add Miles and Gwen. Miles is using his original torso and leg prints, and his face is custom. I don't own a Gwen minifigure, so I had to come up with a custom one, and I think it turned out pretty well. Now let's add him to the build. Now the first build is complete. Here we have Miles and Gwen on the top of the clock tower. Now it's time for the next build. For this next build, I wanted to make the scene where Miguel and Miles first meet. So I'm making Miguel's control center. This area has a ton of computers where Miguel is watching the multiverse. I finished the build and it was time to add Miguel. So here's my custom Spider-Man 2099 or Miguel O'Hara minifigure. In the movie, you can tell Miguel's been working out a lot, so I wanted to integrate that into the minifigure. It was time to add Miguel, and then the build was complete. Here we have Miguel at the control center, making sure the multiverse is under control. Now it's time for the next build. The next scene I wanted to build was the train chase scene in Nueva York. I really liked this scene because it was Miles against the entire Spider-Verse. This scene was also super intense because Miguel was really mad at Miles. So I finished the train that they were on, and it was time to add the minifigures. So here we have a bunch of different Spider-Man chasing after Miles. In the movie, the train was going vertically up instead of horizontally on the ground, so that's why I have it placed upwards. Here's what it looks like horizontally on the ground. Now it's time for the next build. The next scene I wanted to build was the spider therapy room, where a spider therapist was talking to a Spider-Man, and Miles and a bunch of different Spider-Men just came crashing through. I thought it'd be cool to build this scene in LEGO, and I thought it was a really funny scene in general. So here's the build without the minifigures. We have a chair, a plant, a couch, and then the wall just being crumbled. Now let's place the minifigures. So here we have a Spider-Man on a couch letting his feelings out to a spider therapist as Miles, Miguel, and another Spider-Man come crashing through the wall. Now it's time for our final build. For this final build, I wanted to make one of the craziest scenes from the movie. It's when we find out Miles is in the wrong universe and he meets himself as the Prowler. So this build is Uncle Aaron's apartment. I added a bench that had weapons on it as we saw in the movie. I added Miles strapped to a punching bag as we saw in the scene. I finally added a custom Uncle Aaron minifigure and a custom Prowler Miles. Once I placed Prowler Miles into the scene, the build was complete. So here's the final build. We have Uncle Aaron off in the distance, and we have Prowler Miles and our Miles looking at each other. This was such a crazy reveal in the movie, and that's why it's one of my favorite scenes. So that's going to do it for this video. Comment down below your favorite scene from Across the Spider-Verse. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more. Peace out.